Regular meeting number 18 will now come to order. May we have the playing of the national anthem. Councilmember Remy, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will Horsehead Noah, director of the Abu Bakr Asid Islamic Center, please come to the podium to lead us in tonight's prayer. Thank you. Welcome back to council.
Let's pray. Almighty God, unite our hearts and facilitate our mutual affairs. Guide us in the path of peace. Liberate us from darkness by your light. Save us from calamities. Bless us in our ears, eyes, hearts, spouse, and children. Turn to us. Truly you are most compassionate, most merciful. Make us grateful for your bounty so that we may continue to receive it and complete your blessings upon us. Dear Lord, strengthen our solidarity in times of hardship and calamities. Bless this space and every seat that's filled. We thank you for every mind and heart present and seek your mercy to fulfill our duties. In times of confusion, bring clarity. In times of conflict, encourage harmony. In times of difficulties, grant us wisdom, perseverance, and resilience. Guide our leaders in its vision and mission in every task, project of attempt to accomplish. Amen.
Thank you, Director. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting. Pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12, any person who enters those areas of City Council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing no additions or corrections to the journal is approved. This week's communications received by the City Clerk's Office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
None at this time.
Thank you. Are there any, we're going to go around the dais at this point for resolutions and announcements by council members. Councilmember Bankston? Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Dorans. I do have two resolutions this evening. The first is Resolution 0062X 2023 to recognize and honor the importance of jazz music and to declare April as Jazz Appreciation Month and April 30th as International Jazz Day in the city of Columbus. April is Jazz Appreciation Month, and we're excited to recognize jazz music's significant contribution to society. Ohio has played a significant role in the history of jazz, and we're honored to elevate the role that our city played in producing jazz greats such as Nancy Wilson, Rashawn Roland Kirk, and Bobby Floyd, to name a few. And it was a frequent stop for other jazz legends. Jazz, like all music and other art forms, helps to heal and unite people and communities across the divides of race, region, and national boundaries. We look forward to the many events and activities that will celebrate jazz through the month of April, not only for the music, but also for its contribution in building more inclusive societies. And now I would like to turn the floor over to Stephanie Matthews, Executive Director at A Tribe for Jazz, and I believe you have other speakers that are along with you.
Absolutely. I would like to introduce Lewis Smith.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you all for the opportunity, the honor of stating in favor of this resolution. A Tribe for Jazz continues the very vital, important legacy of jazz in Columbus, a magnificent history. Their advancement of that legacy is needed ever so much, especially in light of the recent passing of one of our greatest jazz artists. Ahmad Jamal left this plane yesterday. So we all support their work, their efforts, and with that being said, the Executive Director of A Tribe for Jazz, Stephanie Matthews.
Thank you. Good evening, Pro Temp Dorans, Councilwoman Barosa de Padilla, and council members. As a global leader in preserving the legacy and advancing the future of jazz, A Tribe for Jazz is honored to receive this resolution declaring April as Jazz Appreciation Month and April 30th as International Jazz Day in Columbus, Ohio. Jazz Appreciation Month was created in 2001 at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, and it aims to raise public awareness of jazz music and its global significance. International Jazz Day, designated as April 30th, was founded in 2011 by the United Nations, the UNESCO Foundation, and is the culmination of Jazz Appreciation Month. Both draw attention to this uniquely African-American art form and its global impact. Through our mission of visual storytelling, live and virtual performances, education, and community engagement, A Tribe for Jazz works to further this impact by producing unique content like our award-winning film, Legacy John Arabagon, A Solo Tenor Odyssey, our presentation of the First International Columbus Jazz Series at Capital University, and our Jazz Art Social Emotional Learning Program, an exploration of emotions and color through jazz music, which was named a GCAC finalist for the Art Makes Excellence Awards. We also work to explore the intersection of jazz music within fields such as diversity, equity, inclusion, social emotional learning, STEM education, and healthcare. Because the universality of jazz transcends racial boundaries and bridges cultures and creates unity through shared experiences, jazz should inspire us all to create something greater than ourselves, to improvise, to take risks, and adapt to push boundaries so that we may dialogue freely and exchange ideas where we listen with our whole selves and build up one another's contributions. The culture of jazz reminds us that we all have a part to play in advancing the future. And so jazz is a metaphor for life, for freedom, for community. As A Tribe for Jazz prepares to celebrate our second anniversary, we are excited for our work to foster an even greater appreciation for this amazing art form. So thank you again, Councilwoman Barosa de Padilla, for this resolution and for bringing attention and support to our vision to transform, educate, and create impactful conversations around the preservation of this art form. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have questions or comments? I just want to say, Mr. Smith, Stephanie and I go way back. We were just reminiscing. We went to high school together. I know I promised I did not go to high school with everyone, just lots of people. But I just wanted to just acknowledge, I wanted to thank you all for your support of the arts. I say this all the time. The arts are where people can heal. It is a balm for our soul. It is unification. It is activism. It is everything, right? It is the human spirit, truly an art form, whatever medium that is. And so I just want to thank you for keeping the rich history, especially of jazz, and all the contributions that Ohio and Columbus have made to this art form and keeping it alive and elevating the many artists that I know will help to celebrate this month and acknowledge this month for what it is and what it means to our community. So thank you again. So with that, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Thank you.
Adopted.
All right, may I move on to the next resolution?
You may.
0070X2023 to honor and recognize the month of April as National Arab American Heritage Month. The Arab American story is one of diverse backgrounds and faiths, vibrant tradition, bold innovation, hard work, and commitment to community. Throughout this month, we honor, uplift, and celebrate the richness of the culture, history, and traditions of the Arab people, as well as the countless contributions they have made to American history and society. We also acknowledge that many in the community continue to face prejudice, bigotry, and violence. Hate has no place in our city. We must continue to work together to affirm that sentiment and to ensure that all of our communities feel safe, seen, and valued. The immigrant spirit that helps to shape our country and our city is prominently displayed in the Arab community and the many others that choose to call Columbus their home. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Mazin Rasool from the Arab American Foundation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Council Member Barros de Padilla. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Honorable members of the Columbus City Council and distinguished community members. On behalf of the Arab American community, I am truly honored to stand before you today as we come together to celebrate Arab American Heritage Month. This month-long observance is a special time for us to recognize and honor the rich and diverse contributions that Arab Americans have made and continue to make to the fabric of our society. Arab Americans have a long and proud history of shaping our nation's culture, economy, and society. From poets and writers to scientists and entrepreneurs, Arab Americans have made significant contributions to fields of art, literature, music, science, business, medicine, and many other areas. They have enriched our communities with their talents, hard work, and dedication, and have helped build a more vibrant and inclusive America. As we celebrate Arab American Heritage Month, it is important to recognize and appreciate the diversity within the Arab American community. Arab Americans come from various countries and religions, each with their unique customs, traditions, and contributions. Their rich heritage and cultural legacy are integral to the multicultural fabric of our society, and it is our responsibility to honor and respect these traditions and stories. Furthermore, it is crucial to acknowledge the challenges and discrimination that Arab Americans have faced, particularly in recent years. As a nation, we must stand against discrimination, racism, bigotry in all its forms, and strive to create a society that values diversity, inclusivity, and mutual understanding. We must work towards fostering a culture of respect, appreciation, and celebration of our differences, and ensure that all individuals, regardless of their heritage or background, are treated with dignity and respect. Members of the City Council, we appreciate and honor this recognition, but by the different local, state, and federal authorities, including that from the President of the United States. We also must acknowledge that we hope for a real change beyond a ceremonial one, a change that leads everyone to acknowledge our existence, along with all other minorities and members of this diverse society. We ask you to listen to us, listen to our needs and our opinions. Give us the opportunity to speak and address our opinions, not only when it's a comfortable conversation about culture and heritage, but more importantly, when it's an uncomfortable conversation, such as when we discuss issues facing our home countries and families in the Middle East. We ask you to support the efforts to count us in the census for who we are and who we identify as. We are Arab Americans, North Africans, and Middle Easterns. We are not white, as the government has considered us and counted us for more than 100 years. In recognition of the significance of Arab American Heritage Month, I am honored to accept a proclamation in honor of this observance. This proclamation serves as a reminder of the importance of acknowledging and appreciating the contributions of Arab Americans to our society, and it reinforces our commitment to promoting diversity, inclusivity, and understanding in our communities. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Arab American community for their invaluable contributions to our nation and for their unwavering dedication to building a better future for all Americans. Let us together during this month and beyond to celebrate the rich heritage and contributions of Arab Americans and continue to work towards a more inclusive, equitable, and diverse society. Thank you. Shukran. Thank you for this acknowledgement.
Absolutely. Do my colleagues have any comments, questions? I just want to thank you again for coming down. Thank you for letting us present you with this resolution. We named our immigrant, migrant, refugee town halls Immigrants Make Columbus for a reason, right? When folks choose to make this their home, they bring the richness of their culture, the fullness of their heritage to Columbus, and we all get to benefit from that. We all get to experience the richness of our shared global history, and it just makes us all better. And so I want to thank you for not only helping to celebrate, but also elevate the other issues that that we're facing, that you're facing in your communities, and how collectively we can come together to ensure that, again, that this is a place of belonging, that this is a place where people feel safe and they feel seen. So thank you again. So with that, I move for adoption.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Faber, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. And I have one last announcement on that note. Our next Immigrants Make Columbus Town Hall is this Wednesday at 5:30 at Wedgwood Middle School. And there's more information on our social media channels. You can also visit our website, immigrantsmakecolumbus.com. That's all for me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Brown. Thank you. Councilmember Faber.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Dorans. Tonight, I'm honored to present Resolution 0066X-2023 to declare April 2023 as National Child Abuse Awareness Month in the City of Columbus. I'd now like to invite Mallory Donaldson from the Center of Healthy Families to the podium, along with the amazing young women that she has brought with her. Child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and creating solutions requires input and action from everyone. Our children are our future, and as such, we must protect them from long-term psychological, emotional, and physical health impacts that child abuse and neglect has on its victims. As demonstrated in the City of Columbus, effective child abuse prevention and awareness activities succeed when it is tackled as a whole-of-city effort, with partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. The City of Columbus acknowledges that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. With that, I'll turn the podium over to Ms. Mallory Donaldson.
Thank you, Councilmember Faber. Do you have the video? Okay. We're going to play a short video for you, and then it's not for me to speak this evening. It's to empower our youth and hear about their advocacy work as it relates to child abuse prevention and awareness.
Hi, my name is Suzanne. In the United States, the month of April is recognized as National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Child abuse, endangerment, or maltreatment can include any act or failure to act that results in actual or potential harm and can occur in the child's home or in the organization, schools, or groups they interact with. Blue is the color designated to support child abuse prevention, and pinwheels are the symbol for this cause, which represents the bright future that all children deserve. Preventing child abuse and neglect is a responsibility that everybody shares. Educating and spreading the word about child abuse prevention helps our communities to take action, strengthen families, and raise awareness to end all forms of abuse and neglect.
Hi, my name is Nia, and throughout the month of April, the Center for Healthy Families will partner with community organizations and co-sponsor a series of events to engage and educate the public about these important issues. The center provides direct services to pregnant and parenting youth in innovative ways that address their holistic needs. Also, the center educates the public and advocates for policy changes that impact these groups critical to our community's future.
Hi, my name is Zai. Franklin County Children's Services cares about children and families. Protecting children by strengthening families is at the very core of what they do. Franklin County Children's Services is a public agency mandated by the law to provide protection to children in this community. Each year, Franklin County Children's Services supports approximately 30,000 children and their families through prevention, protection, placement, and permanency programs. The agency is committed to keeping children safe and families whole. FCCS protects and cares for children by collaborating with parents, families, and their communities. Children's Services believes that in advocating for safety, protect, and well-being of each child they serve in a manner that honors families and culture.
On behalf of the Center for Healthy Families, in collaboration with Franklin County Children's Services, we are so grateful for your advocacy on behalf of our youth, your commitment to our city, and some of the most vulnerable citizens that we serve. Thank you again for having us this evening and bringing awareness to National Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Lee. I'm 16 and I attend Columbus Alternative High School as a junior. It is important to speak about child abuse prevention because those who don't have a voice for themselves deserve to be heard and helped to make a difference in our community. We thank you for this opportunity, allowing us to speak up and about child abuse prevention.
Well, thank you, ladies, and Ms. Donaldson, for your continued advocacy on behalf of all of our youth in the city of Columbus. It's particularly striking to me that you elected to hold up signs that say, "See me," and we know that oftentimes our young ladies don't feel seen. And given the nature of this conversation, it is our duty as legislators and, quite frankly, as women to validate that we do see you, right? We see you and we hear you today, loud and clear. And so it is an honor to be able to recognize this as an important topic for the month of April, not just for the month of April, but to continue to educate and elevate this issue throughout the remaining of the year. So before I ask my colleagues if they have any questions or comments, I would like for the rest of the young ladies to introduce themselves and what school you go to. Don't be shy.
My name is Miata Jo. I go to Columbus State College.
Hi, my name is Brielle. I go to KIPP Columbus.
Hi, my name is Dariana, and I go to Reynoldsburg High School Summit.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nia. I go to Bishop Hartley High School.
Wonderful. Are there any questions or comments by my colleagues? Ms. Donaldson, I know that you all have been intentional about not just only bringing this message in the city of Columbus, but recognizing that these issues impact the entire county. And so could you talk just very briefly about how you've been raising awareness around our community at large?
We have been advocating in different municipalities. So with our partnership with Franklin County and Franklin County Children's Services, we've been able to we were in Westerville maybe 2 weeks ago, Westerville City Council, also Whitehall City Council. We have you all this evening. We were at Franklin County Board of Commissioners last Tuesday, and again this evening we will be at the City of Gahanna at their City Council meeting. So again, just spreading the awareness, whether it is through public displays of pinwheels and large signs, that we are a gracious for you guys hosting every year on our behalf, or having our girls advocate at city council meetings. Our goal is to continue to beat the drum until it no longer needs to be beaten. So if you think about how we continue to grow and sustain in partnerships, it takes an entire county, it takes an entire region to continue to advocate on behalf of our youth. And so if we empower our youth to speak for themselves, that is our goal, is to continue to have their voices heard, and again, just grow out these partnerships in a sustainable way that we no longer have to carry that message. Now it's in everyone's, it's at the top of mind, and to your point, it's no longer just an advocacy month. It's 365.
Absolutely. And as one half of the Women's Caucus, I'm just incredibly excited to see that you all are providing opportunities for young women to get out there and advocate for themselves, advocate for their peers, and then really taking a legislative policy approach. So round of applause to you all, and round of applause to the ladies as well. With that, I'd move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted.
That is it for me.
Thank you, Councilmember Favor. Councilmember Remy.
Thank you very much, Council President Pro Tem Dorans. I have one resolution this evening. I'd like to invite our guests from Keep Columbus Beautiful, Green Spot, and Green Columbus to the podium as I introduce Resolution 67X 2023 to recognize and celebrate Saturday, April 22nd, 2023 as Earth Day in Columbus, Ohio. Celebrating Earth Day represents all of the hard work that has been done and will continue to be done to protect our planet and keep our families safe. Earth Day was founded by United States Senator Gaylord Nelson as an environmental teach-in first held on April 22nd, 1970. Earth Day 2023 is dedicated to investing in preserving and protecting our health, families, and livelihoods by investing in our planet. Green Columbus is a Central Ohio nonprofit organization that started the local celebration of Earth Day in 2007 and organizes the Earth Day Columbus Service Month every year. Since its inception, Earth Day Columbus has helped Central Ohioans volunteer hundreds of thousands of hours and result in millions of dollars worth of goods and services being donated in Central Ohio. The City of Columbus, through its Sustainable Columbus office, is committed to impairing equity and environmental justice through strong climate action and is guided by the Columbus Climate Action Plan, which has a community-wide goal of carbon neutrality by 2050 and a 45% reduction in emissions by 2050. The City of Columbus Climate Action Plan has strategies and goals around reducing waste, transitioning to clean energy sources, and zero-emission vehicles, increasing energy efficiency, increasing access to green space, and increasing the tree canopy in alignment with the city's urban forestry master plan. Keep Columbus Beautiful, a national affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, is a community improvement program started in 1984 that focuses on public education and volunteer service related to quality of life and environmental issues, including litter, recycling, and beautification. In 2022, Keep Columbus Beautiful facilitated 9,451 volunteers, 629 cleanups, and the removal of 231,022 pounds of litter. This is a long resolution. Founded in 2008 by former Columbus Mayor Michael B. Coleman and continued and grown under Mayor Andrew J. Ginther, Columbus Green Spot is a city program that inspires, educates, and recognizes households, businesses, and community groups in neighborhoods that adopt sustainable practices. Columbus Green Spot currently has 24,981 members throughout the city. We need 19 more tonight to get to 25,000. Columbus City Council encourages all residents to volunteer for Earth Day 2023 and thank the many people and organizations in our community who will spend the month of April dedicating time to clean their neighborhoods and help our environment. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby recognize and celebrate Saturday, April 22nd, 2023 is Earth Day in Columbus, Ohio. Earlier this month, I was glad to kick off our first Earth Month with our second annual Cleaner Columbus cleanup, where hundreds of volunteers picked up 800 plus bags of litter in cleanups around the city. And this is just one of the great cleanups that we do throughout the year. And we know both throughout the month of April and year-round, we have many organizations and programs promoting a clean city and a healthy environment. I'm excited to have joining us this evening Ari Alex, the Sustainability Manager with Keep Columbus Beautiful, Executive Director at the Division of Refuse, David Celebrezzi, Resilience and Behavior Change Manager at Sustainable Columbus, and of course, Shelley Douglas, the Executive Director at Green Columbus. Thank you all for being here as we celebrate Earth Day 2023. The floor is yours.
Good evening, President Pro Tem Dorn, Chair Remy, council members. Thank you for this opportunity to talk a little trash and to speak with you about Earth Day and some of the great work the team at Keep Columbus Beautiful is doing to ensure that Columbus is safe, clean, sustainable, and a beautiful community for all. My name is Ari Alex. I serve as Executive Director of the city's Keep Columbus Beautiful program. Litter is an environmental justice issue. It pollutes our streets, alleys, neighborhoods, and waterways. In fact, it's estimated that there is over 52% of all litter is in our waterways. That's our rivers, streams, and creeks. And it contributes to micro and nanoplastics as it breaks down, and including the large amount of trash in the ocean. It actually starts right here as litter gets into the Scioto River and flows to the Ohio, to the Mississippi, into the Gulf. Unlike many challenges that our society faces, litter is completely and easily solved by our fellow residents who choose to properly dispose of waste and ensure that they do not pollute our environment by tossing a piece of trash on the ground or throwing a piece of trash out their car window or when they're riding their bike or any other time. As noted, last year, the Keep Columbus Beautiful program helped just under 10,000 volunteers pick up litter across Columbus. This amazing effort resulted in 629 community cleanups, and it helped prevent litter from ending up in our waterways and making our community a better and safer place for all. I'm so grateful to stand up here with my colleagues as we talk about Earth Day, and thank you so much for your time, and I'll hand it over to my friend Dave Celebrezzi.
Thanks, Ari. President Pro Tem Dorans, Councilmember Remy, thank you for this opportunity to talk about the resolution. Sustainable Columbus is the city's sustainability office and initiative committed to imparting equity and environmental justice through climate action, and we're out of the Public Utilities Department. Our work is guided by the Columbus Climate Action Plan. This past year, we've had historic growth in our staffing in order to implement this work. We had wins such as passing an EV readiness ordinance, so thank you all for that. Hosted a successful solar co-op campaign, executed an urban heat island mapping project, launched an empowered clean energy and construction jobs training program, and activated the city's first ever solar-powered microgrid. On to GreenSpot. You can check out the website for the successes at columbusgreenspot.org. I want to say a few words about what most people can do to go green and save money as well. Turning off the water when you brush your teeth can save up to 365 gallons a year. Keeping showers to 5 minutes or less can save almost 1,000 gallons a year. Installing a rain barrel and using that water to water your yard or your native plants can save up to 200 gallons a year. Go vegetarian or vegan can lessen your global water footprint. Unplugging those vampire appliances like cell phone chargers, computers that are not in use can save up to 11% off of your bill. Turning off lights when you leave a room. Recycle, of course. Pay your bills online. And of course, ride your bike, take Kogo Bike Share or CODA to reduce vehicle emissions. We also have over 100 ideas of what businesses could do, but don't worry, I know my time is limited here, but you can check that out online. And I do want to apologize for not wearing any green today. It was not by, I wasn't thinking, but thank you. I want to turn it over to Shelley Douglas with Green Columbus.
Hello, this is the only green I have on too, so kind of unlike me, but President Pro Tem Dorans, Councilmember Remy, thank you very much for asking us to be here tonight and for being such supporters of Earth Day. So my name is Shelley Douglas. I'm the Executive Director of Green Columbus. We are an environmental nonprofit here in Central Ohio, and our mission is to promote environmental education, stewardship, and equity across our communities. We think that Earth Day is an opportunity to celebrate our Earth and our benefits that Mother Nature provides us, but also our community pride and empowerment. So Earth Day Columbus started in 2007, and in those last 16 years, volunteers have come out to plant, beautify, and clean our communities each year during April. Since 2007, Earth Day Columbus has become the largest Earth Day event volunteer-driven in the country. So we're really, really proud of that fact. And this year, in 2023, we had over 150 service sites happen throughout Central Ohio. Some of them are still to come this weekend and the rest of April. You can volunteer at earthdaycolumbus.org if you're interested. But at those 150 service sites, they're planting trees, cleaning up litter, planting community gardens, and over 70,000 tree seedlings were distributed across Central Ohio through these events and have been planted in our communities. We also were able to distribute thousands of dollars worth of pollinator plants, prairie seed, and soil and mulch, thanks to our partners like the City of Columbus and Keep Columbus Beautiful who help us get those resources out into the community. And we're really, really proud of this, and we think it's something to celebrate. So we want to invite all of you here and everyone listening out to Genoa Park this Saturday, actual Earth Day on April 22nd from 12 to 9 to celebrate all of the hard work that our volunteers have put in to make Columbus a beautiful place to live. So at Genoa Park, we're going to have food trucks. We have 5 local bands coming, over 40 vendors talking about their sustainability goals. And we're partnering with Celebrate Trails Day, so there's going to be bike rides, group walks, there's all kinds of things going on. So we want to invite you all to join us and show everyone why Columbus is the place to be for Earth Day. And we want to thank you very much for recognizing this day in Columbus.
Well, thank you very much for all your commitment to making our community a better place. I did remember to wear my green tie this morning, so this is a good thing. Also wanted to mention that Rexham Parks is holding an Earth Day celebration at Linden Rec Center from 9 to 12, so go do that and then go over to Genoa Park for the Earth Day celebration, which is always a great event. And so we thank you very much. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for adoption.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopt.
And that is all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Remy. Wanted to pause and see if any of our elected officials in attendance this evening had any comments. City auditor, attorney, anyone from the court? Well, seeing none, I move at this time to request the following ordinance be removed from the consent portion of tonight's agenda. In the Environment Committee, Ordinance 0616-2023. Are there any other requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution from consent action of tonight's agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive second reading on the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Small and Minority Business Committee, Ordinance 1003-2023. Technology Committee, Ordinances 834, 969, 982, 987-2023. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinance 1079-2023. Recreation and Parks Committee, Resolution 60X-2023. Public Utilities Committee, Resolution 48X-2023. Ordinances 754, 849, 941, 944, 956, 963, 973, 997, 1022, 1029, 1055-2023. Housing Committee, Ordinances 1075, 1101-2023. Criminal Justice and Judiciary Committee, Ordinance 1085-2023. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinances 946, 977, 988, and 1157-2023. Public Safety Committee, Ordinance 971, 1037, 1054-2023. Finance Committee, Ordinances 940, 984, and 1036-2023. Zoning Committee, Ordinances 525-2023, 1144, and 1145-2023.
Thank you, Clerk. The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent actions. Would the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of each into the record?
Resolutions of expression 68X, 71X, 72X-2023. Economic Development Committee, ordinances 961, 1078, 1104, 1105-2023. Technology Committee, ordinances 729 and 807-2023. Public Service and Transportation Committee, resolution 42X-2023, and ordinances 688, 760, 824, 863, 874, 937, 967, 1027, 1053-2023. Recreation and Parks Committee, ordinances 750, 755, 1162-2023. Public Utilities Committee, ordinance 551, 691, 797, 826, 942, 948, 957-2023. Building and Zoning Policy Committee, ordinance 870-2023. Housing Committee, ordinances 784, 871, 943, 947-2023. Criminal Justice and Judiciary Committee, ordinance 958-2023. Health and Human Services Committee, ordinances 875, 935, 965, 985, 995, 1033, 1081, 1154-2023. Public Safety Committee, ordinances 785, 1034, 1052-2023. Environment Committee, ordinance 990-2023. Administration Committee, ordinance 846 and 928-2023. Finance Committee, ordinances 802, 822, 923, 955, 996-2023. And appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0110 and A0111-2023.
Thank you. May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent actions? Thank you. Clerk, may you please, I think I need a motion, then a second. Thank you. Clerk, could you please call the roll by voice? Sure. May I move for, may I move for approval of these items designated as consent?
My apologies, that wasn't clear. When you move for the approval of consent, Favor and Bankston shouldn't vote. So can we ask for a motion to approve? I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Go back to the spot where you just left.
Right there.
Yes, that's right.
May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent actions?
Second.
Thank you. Clerk, may you please now call the roll by voice?
Mr. Bankston.
Yes, with the exception of ordinances 760 and 826-2023, from which I'm abstaining.
Ms. Barosa de Padilla.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Favor.
Yes, with the exception of ordinances 729, 616, 755, 826, and 760, from which I'm abstaining.
Mr. Remy.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Dorans.
Yes. Consent items are passed with the noted exceptions. We'll now proceed with the second reading of 30-day postponed emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is the Technology Committee. Councilmember Bankston chairs the committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Tonight in the Technology Committee, we have ordinance 0904-2023 to appropriate $2 million to the Department of Technology Information Services Division from the unappropriated cash balance of the Information Services Operating Fund to authorize the Director of Finance and Management on behalf of the Department of Technology and various city agencies to associate all general budget reservations resulting from this ordinance with the appropriate purchase agreement for the purchase of new and replacement desktop computers and associated equipment from two pre-established purchase agreements with Brown Enterprise Solutions LLC and Law and Order Technology LLC, and to authorize the expenditure of $2,673,000 from the Department of Technology Operating Fund for the above stated purposes. As mentioned in the title of this legislation authorizes the purchase of new and replacement desktop computers and associated equipment for two pre-established purchase agreements. The desktop computers and computer-related products being replaced are outdated and/or obsolete. These devices and products are used for the operations of applications that are vital to the daily operations of the city, and replacement of these computers is crucial for continued efficiencies within city government. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Oh, thank you. And President Nurse, may I move to Finance Committee?
You may.
Thank you. And we're on page 20 of our agenda in the Finance Committee. And tonight we have ordinance 1098-2023 to authorize the Director of the Department of Finance and Management to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Franklin County Commissioners in order to reimburse Franklin County for the city's portion of the Ohio Public Employment Retirement System's liability costs associated with the case of state, on behalf of Altman Bates versus Public Employees Retirement Board, 2016-Ohio-3100, to authorize the transfer of $1 million within the general fund, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1 million from the general fund, and to declare an emergency. My council colleagues, between 1984 and 1998, the Franklin County Public Defender's Office operated as a nonprofit rather than being incorporated into a county agency. Anyone hired before 1985 and after 1999 are considered public employees. However, those who started between those dates were not credited for their service prior to 1999. The Ohio Supreme Court has recently clarified that these employees should be credited for their years of service prior to the Franklin County Public Defender's Office becoming a county agency. Because the city utilizes the Franklin County Public Defender's Office to provide legal counsel to people charged with municipal crimes that cannot afford an attorney, we have an agreement with the county to share the expense associated with this decision. In 2017, City Council authorized funding for $3 million of our estimated $3.7 million obligation to employees who were eligible to make a claim of service credit. As continued claims have been made, we are authorizing up to $1 million additional dollars in funding to cover the city's portion of those claims. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? All right, seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. That's all I have in my committee this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next committee to come before council is the Public Service Committee. Councilmember Barosa de Padilla chairs that committee. Councilmember, floor is yours.
Thank you. I have a few ordinances today in public service and transportation. First, 04/23/2023, to authorize the city attorney to file complaints in order to immediately appropriate and accept the remaining fee, simple, and lesser real estate necessary to timely complete the bridge rehab UIRF Milo Grogan 2nd Avenue improvement projects, and to authorize an expenditure of up to $16,046. This is part of the Urban Infrastructure Recovery Fund Milo Grogan 2nd Avenue Improvements Project, which consists of installing new sidewalks, curb ramps, curb extensions, street trees, permeable, this is a very difficult word for me, paver parking, and new street lighting with underground conduits. The city's acquisition of the real estate will help improve, or repair certain portions of the public right-of-way of 2nd Avenue to 6th Street to St. Clair Avenue, which will be open to the public without charge. This is an exciting project leading up towards 2nd Avenue with a number of improvements. So do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, 09/36/2023, to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget to authorize the transfer of funds within the Streets and Highways Bond Fund to appropriate funds within the Federal Transportation Grants Fund and the OPWC Grants and Loans Fund to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into contract with Double Z Construction Company for the intersection Broad Street at James Road project, to authorize the expenditure of up to, but not to exceed, $6,400,010.38 from the Federal Transportation Grants Fund, the OPWC Grants and Loans Fund, and the Streets and Highways Bond Fund for the project, and to repay any unused grant funds at the end of the grant period and to declare an emergency. The intersection of East Broad Street and James Road suffers from elevated crash rates due to the high number of left and right turns from James Road and conflicts with access to business driveways. This project will help to reduce crashes, improve traffic flow efficiency, and improve pedestrian access and safety. The funds allocated to this project will serve as a way to ensure necessary improvements, such as the construction of turn lanes, reconstruction of the existing signal, and installation of signal backplates. Advanced street name signs and medians are made. This is really exciting. This is definitely one of our interests in the high crash network, and these improvements will, along with improvements that have already been made along James Road, are pretty significant. Assistant Director, is there anything you would like to add?
No, other than that, this intersection has consistently been ranked in the top 5 of MORPC's most dangerous intersections, and consistently on the governor's list of most dangerous intersections by ODOT. We're very proud that this Vision Zero project can come to fruition, and thank you for your support.
Absolutely. I'm also excited because this is also complementing some of the improvements that we've made along that east corridor on Livingston Ave. This is continuing those improvements, which folks will start to see in that flow of traffic along the east side corridor. So thank you. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? I will come back with better visuals because we were going to show some today, but they weren't perfect. But as we do more of the visuals, we'll share with folks. But seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Great. And next, 0979-2023, to authorize the Director of Public Service to modify the off-street parking management services contract with Laz Carp Associates LLC to add funding, and to authorize an expenditure not to exceed $1,600,000 from the Mobility Enterprise Operating Fund, and to declare an emergency. The City of Columbus's off-street parking management services is administered by Laz Carp. Laz manages all off-street parking for the city, which includes 5 garages and 2 service lots. This funding continues their services and enhances security services in all of the garages. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Thank you. May I move to Veteran, Senior, and Disability Affairs?
You may.
Thank you. We have one ordinance today, 1017-2023, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure of up to $13,400,000 from the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to increase various contracts for Passport, home care, and assisted living services, and to declare an emergency. So this piece of legislation will increase various contracts for the provision of Passport, home care, and assisted living services for older adults in Central Ohio. This is a strategy that helps to keep older folks in their homes as an alternative to nursing home care. Senior services available include homemaker, transportation, personal care services, home-delivered meals, emergency response systems, adult daycare services, case management, and more. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Thank you. That is all for me and my committees this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, we have the Recreation and Parks Committee, chaired by Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I have one ordinance for Recreation and Parks this evening, Ordinance 1167-2023, to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks on behalf of the City of Columbus to execute a memorandum of agreement with the Columbus Zoological Park Association and the Board of County Commissioners of Franklin County for the provision and maintenance of zoological park services and facilities of the Columbus Zoological Park Association, and to declare an emergency. This legislation serves as an update to the memorandum of agreement between the city, the county, and the Columbus Zoo to support and maintain the operation of the zoo. I have Director Reese here to provide some additional information with regards to this memorandum. Director Reese?
Thank you, President Pro Tem Dorans, Chair Brown, and council members. This memorandum of agreement is with the Franklin County Commissioners and the Zoo Association. It allows for the maintenance of the zoo park services through the county tax levy for the zoo. This agreement shall be the operative document in consideration of the tax levy receipts generated by the passage of the 2015 zoo levy by the electors of Franklin County, Ohio, and any renewal, extension, and replacement thereof. This agreement would run through 2037. Our partnership with the zoo allows us to take over 30 camps and facilities of participants from our summer programs. This has been something that's been going on for a number of years, and so we will be using this year, and that is with no admission costs. Thank you, Chair Brown.
Thank you, Director Reese. If there are any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
That's all I have, President Pro Tem.
Thank you, council member. The next committee to come before council is the Public Utilities Committee. I chair that committee. First, we have ordinance 0564-2023 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a contract with Duke's Root Control, Inc. for the sewer root control services for the Division of Sewers and Drainage in 2023, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of city code, and to authorize expenditure of $90,000 from the Sewer Operating and Sanitary Fund. The Division of Sewers and Drainage has determined that the product Raise Rooter is the most effective way to treat roots in sewers. This is a non-carcinogenic and approved by the United States Environmental Protection Agency for use in this manner. While there are multiple ways to treat root growth and inhibit regrowth, the effectiveness of this product and that it met EPA approval means that the best interest of the city to waive the provisions of competitive bidding and enter into a contract with Duke's Root Control, Inc. for these services. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0599-2023 to authorize an amendment to the 2022 capital improvement budget to authorize the appropriation and transfer from the Water System Reserve Fund to the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter a construction contract with Danbury, Inc. for the Greenway Avenue Area Water Line Improvement Project, to authorize the appropriation transfer of up to $4,334,285.44 from the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account Fund for the contract, to authorize an increase in the maximum amount of a loan that can be obtained to fund the construction for this project, and to authorize the expenditure of up to $578,664 from the Water Bond Fund to pay for construction administration and expenses for the project. The goal of this project is to replace or rehabilitate more than 10,000 feet of existing water lines that have a high break frequency along Greenway Avenue in the Milo Grogan, North Central, and East Columbus, Mid-East, and Near East planning areas. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0697-2023 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to modify and extend the contract with Performance Consulting Services, Inc. for the training services, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $95,000 from the Electricity Operating Fund, the Water Operating Fund, the Sewer Operating Fund, and the Stormwater Operating Fund. The Evolving Leader Development Initiative is designed to increase depth and capacity in becoming a more impactful leader through professional self-awareness and confidence, individual and workplace team engagement, and management and organizational success for public utilities employees. The Department of Public Utilities has previous agreements with Performance Consulting Services for this program and wishes to continue. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0744-2023 to authorize the city attorney to file complaints in order to immediately appropriate and accept the remaining fee simple and lesser real estate necessary to timely complete the Blueprint Miller-Kelton Fairwood permeable pavers project and to authorize expenditure of $3,103. The Department of Public Utilities performing the Blueprint Miller-Kelton, Kelton Fairway Permanent Pavers Project and must acquire certain fee simple title and lesser real estate located in the vicinity of Lily Avenue, Blendon Avenue, in order to timely complete this project. The city passed ordinance number 1751-2021 to authorize the city attorney to acquire real estate and adopted resolution 0141X-2022 and 0181X-2022 establishing the city's intent to appropriate the real estate. Finally, the city passed ordinance number 2599-2022 authorizing the appropriation of certain real estate for the public project. This ordinance authorizes the appropriation of additional real estate not included in ordinance 2599-2022. The city attorney pursuant to Columbus City Codes, section 909.03, served notice to all the owners of the real estate of the public project's purpose and necessity, and in adoption of resolution 0141X-2022 and 018X-2022. However, the city attorney was unable to locate some of the real estate owners or agree with some of the real estate owners in good faith regarding the amount of just compensation. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 0745-2023 to authorize an amendment to the 2020 capital improvement budget to authorize a transfer of cash and appropriation between the sanitary bond fund to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter in a contract for construction administration and inspection services with EMH&T and to authorize expenditure of up to $1,934,406.02 from the sanitary bond fund for the contract. This work will ensure the department's construction projects bid during the calendar year of 2023 through 2025 and are done correctly and will last the anticipated service life of the project. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. And finally, in public utilities, we have ordinance number 0761-2023 to authorize an amendment to the 2022 capital improvement budget to authorize the transfer of cash and appropriation within the sanitary bond fund to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to renew and increase a professional construction management services contract with Black & Veatch for the Lower Olentangy Tunnel project and to authorize expenditure of up to $4,933,165.65 from the sanitary bond fund to pay for a contract renewal. The project is part of the Division of Sewers and Drainage 2015 Blueprint Program, which will improve water quality in the Olentangy River by substantially reducing wet water overflows from 7 combined sewer overflow structures as well as other sewer relief structures. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. That's all I have in public utilities tonight. The next committee to come before council is the Health and Human Services Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Favor. Councilmember Favor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Dorans. Tonight in Health and Human Services, we have ordinance 1057-2023 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to execute grant agreements with numerous not-for-profit social service agencies in an amount up to $4,420,000 for the Elevate 2.0 program, to authorize the provision of services for a 12-month period from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023, to authorize payment for reasonable food and non-alcoholic beverages for participants of programs included in the grant agreements, to authorize the advancement of funds on a predetermined schedule during the term of the agreement, to authorize the expenditure of up to $2,639,000 from the Hotel Motel Tax Fund and up to $1,781,000 from the General Fund and to declare an emergency. The Elevate 2.0 program is a rebranding of the department's Human Services Grant Program due to COVID-19. Prior year investment strategies included income through employment, job quality, education and training, financial capability, and stabilization and resource support. COVID-19 significantly impacted not-for-profit organizations and the residents of Columbus. There was an increase in homelessness, housing instability, lost jobs, increase in violence, and increase in health issues. Not-for-profit agencies were challenged to address these needs as donations dropped off. To address these issues, the Department of Development will focus on supporting not-for-profit organizations, providing human services programming in the following areas: infant vitality, homelessness, housing stability, finance security, workforce development, violence elimination, reentry, neighborhood building, and chronic disease prevention. More than 60 agencies will be appropriated funds to target these critical sectors of health, employment, housing, rehabilitation, and reentry for our Columbus residents. The increased and continued support of central sectors that affect everyone's everyday lives help build healthier and safer lives for all who reside in Columbus. With that, I'd like to invite Director Stevens to make any additional remarks.
Good evening, President Pro Tem Dorans, Chair Faber, members of council. I want to thank you for your continued support of our human services agencies. This ordinance will double our investment in human services up to $10 million for this year, which is badly needed. I also want to recognize the human services team and the staff at council that worked together on this to bring forward these 60-plus agencies that are serving our residents. And I also want to thank Michael Corey at the Human Services Chamber for his insight and participation as we shape this new program. So thank you.
Thank you, Director, and I would also echo the work of the Human Service Chamber and all of the organizations that continue to do the work on behalf of all of our residents in the city of Columbus. We would not have been able to get through these last several years without the commitment of those organizations and the staff that continue to support residents. Are there any additional comments from my questions or comments by my colleagues? Seeing none, I'd move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all I have in my committees.
Thank you, Councilmember Favor. The next committee to come before council is the Public Safety Committee, which is chaired by Councilmember Remy. Councilmember Remy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Council President Pro Tem Dorans. Tonight I have Ordinance 121-2023 to authorize the Public Safety Director to enter into contract with RQI Partners, LLC for resuscitation quality improvement for the Division of Fire, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code and to authorize the expenditure of $135,970 from the general fund. This program will continue to assist the Fire Division in managing the CPR certifications of personnel using American Heart Association training certification professionals and portable simulation stations. This program provides immediate feedback to improve performance, communicates metrics via tracking software that measures success, and will reduce the division's reliance on costly in-classroom recertification. Assistant Director Stewart, could you speak to the waiver of competitive bidding, please?
Yes, sir. Like you said, this program is specifically designed to help Columbus Fire in instructing their candidates and in-service personnel on the latest American Heart Association standards. It keeps an ongoing track. It also, like you said, reduces them relying on hands-on in-classroom and certification instruction. It's one they've been using before. It's been profitable. It's been positive, and they want to continue to use it.
Thank you very much, Assistant Director. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Next, I have Ordinance 815-2023 to authorize the Director of Public Service on behalf of the Division of Support Services and the Division of Police to enter into contract with Break Fire, Inc., doing business as Silco Fire Protection Company, to upgrade the existing security system infrastructure for various public safety locations, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the City Code, to authorize an expenditure of $98,625 from Public Safety's capital improvement budget, and to declare an emergency. Assistant Director Stewart, could you just speak to the waiver of competitive bidding on this one, please?
Yes, sir. Again, you've stolen my thunder in that the system's already in use. However, it needs to be updated. Essentially, this will allow for the automatic notification of the 911 system in the event that there is a problem at any of the 800 megahertz system antennas, as well as locations such as the police property room and/or crime lab. Again, it's something they've already had. It just needs to be upgraded.
Thank you very much, Assistant Director. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
And that is all I have in Public Safety. With your permission, I'll move on to the Environment Committee.
Please.
Next, I have ordinance 873, 2023, to authorize the Board of Health to enter into a contract for hyperlocal data collection and air quality analysis with Aclima, Inc., to authorize a transfer within the Health Operating Fund, to authorize an expenditure within the Health Operating Fund, and to waive the competitive bidding provisions of Chapter 329 of the Columbus City Codes. The health and safety of our residents is always our number one priority here at Columbus City Council. Many of you will remember just over 2 years ago, on April 8, 2021, an environmental event occurred in the north central area of Columbus, Ohio. Ever since, the north central community has been asking for an environmental study and have expressed concern over the environmental impact this event will have on their community, both short and long term. After extensive engagement with our community and many discussions, Columbus City Council is taking action by contracting with Aclima, a WMBE business that is world-renowned hyperlocal data collection and data science organization that specializes in measuring air quality. As the Environmental Committee Chair for Columbus City Council, I am dedicated to environmental justice and how these incidents impact the health and well-being of our communities. The North Central community, our neighbors, deserve peace of mind and sound quality life. This partnership with Aclima is a direct result of the community's advocacy and is aligned with our goal of bringing them not only answers, but peace. Aclima's analysis work is hyper-local, block by block. They are dedicated to community connection through communication and will engage with the community throughout the process. In fact, the employees they hire to collect air samples will be hired locally. I want to thank and highlight the partnership that Council President Shannon Hardin and his team have given in this process, and to share my gratitude for their efforts and time. Joining us virtually tonight to share more about this partnership is Davida Herzl, the co-founder and CEO of Aclima. Davida, thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Of course. Well, thank you and good evening, everybody, and thank you to the City Council and members of the public for welcoming me here tonight to represent Aclima and for the opportunity to partner with the City of Columbus on this very important air quality initiative. And I'll start with a brief overview of Aclima and then briefly describe the work that we'll be embarking on for the city. And though our headquarters are in California, our fleet vehicles and our fleet drivers are currently mapping in cities across the country and around the world, measuring and mapping billions of measurements of air quality, greenhouse gases, and air toxics block by block. We partner with local governments like yours, community groups, and community leaders, as well as the private sector, to collect and analyze hyperlocal air pollution, to provide critical information about, one, where emissions are coming from, and two, who they're impacting, so that you're empowered to direct action, direct investments, and resources where they're needed the most. Aclima is a public benefit corporation, which means that we have a fiduciary responsibility to maximize the societal benefit of our incredible technology. In addition to those positive climate impacts, we create full-time green jobs in the communities where we work, which we will do in Columbus, and create paths of opportunity for upskilling and careers in the green economy and the green and climate tech economy. Right now, Aclima is collecting and analyzing billions of data points across the United States through partnerships with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, with the California Air Resources Board, with the United States EPA and utilities like National Grid, SoCalGas, and many others. And so in the City of Columbus, we'll be implementing our three-part framework to empower emissions and greenhouse gas reductions. First, as we map, we will diagnose the likely sources of emissions by mapping each block. Then we will help design an emissions reductions plan, depending on what we find, that will use that data and combine it with other contextual data like climate risk or socioeconomic data. And finally, as those programs are getting implemented, our data can track how changes are being seen in the measurements. And so in phase one, our fleet vehicles will collect hyperlocal data in St. Mary's neighborhood, which was, of course, the site of the very tragic explosion last year. And then we'll also collect measurements in another neighborhood that we will select, that the City of Columbus will select in consultation with ACLMA to create a comparison. In future phases, we'd be very excited to scale that up, to really understand sources of air quality and air pollution and emissions that all members of the city experience, but very excited to start in this very critical area of the city. And we're honored to partner with the City of Columbus and start working with you and your community. Thank you so much, everybody, for your leadership in climate action and ensuring environmental justice, which you're continuing to demonstrate by investing in this work and in the community. Together, we're really hoping to make a difference. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Davida. I really am looking forward to working with you and your team on this important project. We do have one public speaker signed up in support of Ordinance 873, 2023. It's Adam Porter from the Columbus NAACP, the environmental chair for the NAACP. Adam, thank you for joining us virtually this evening. And a reminder, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
President Pro Tem Dorans, Councilmember Remy, members of council, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to speak this evening. On behalf of Madam President, I also send her good wishes as well. We are very excited at the NAACP about this legislation. As you mentioned, a horrific event took place in the North Central community, and everything's been in uproar ever since. At the NAACP, we have 3 objectives: to reduce harmful emissions, and particularly greenhouse gases, advance renewable and clean energy, and strengthen livable communities. This legislation goes right in line with what our objectives are. And unfortunately, you can look at the traditional communities of color, St. Mary's, South Linden, Southfield, they all have the same issue. They all are surrounded by highways. They all have railroads that run through them, and they all have manufacturing within them, which leads to a variety of other issues as well, health-related, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate everything that you do, Councilmember Remy, as it relates to the environment, the programs, the conversations we've had, and bringing an excellent organization like ACLMA to the table. They're a world-renowned organization, and I can't wait to hear and work with them and see some of the things that they are going to do to help improve the environment. So without any further ado, I want you to know you have the Columbus branch of the NAACP, you have our support.
Thank you so much, Mr. Porter. We appreciate your work on behalf of the NAACP's Environmental Committee. It is an important partnership. We're happy to partner with you and look forward to this work ahead. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues this evening? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
Next, I have Ordinance 952, 2023, to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget to authorize the transfer of funds within the Refuse Bond Fund, to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish purchase orders and associate relevant purchase agreements with multiple vendors for the purchase of refuse collection containers and parts, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1 million from the Refuse Bond Fund for the purchase of these containers and parts, and to declare an emergency. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
And next is Ordinance 1010, 2023, to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to associate all general budget reservations resulting from this ordinance with the appropriate universal term contract purchase agreements for knuckle boom waste trucks for the Division of Refuse Collection with Ohio Machinery Company, DBA Ohio Peterbilt, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,147,986 from the Refuse Bond Fund for these trucks and to declare an emergency. The Department of Public Service, Division of Refuse Collection, uses knuckle boom trucks in citywide residential trash pickup. These are the types of trucks that you see when they pick up bulk pickup that have the boom that go out the side, pick up couches and mattresses and other things along the curb. The Department of Public Service and Fleet Management recognized the need to replace older trucks in its fleet beyond the useful service life of the vehicle. This purchase will replace 3 refuse trucks that have reached the end of their useful service life. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed.
If we can just go back to page 15, to the item we removed from the consent agenda, I have ordinance 616, 2023, to authorize the city auditor to appropriate funds from the private grant fund to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into grant agreement or other requisite instrument with the Columbus Foundation and to make payment to the organization to facilitate the establishment and management of a donor-advised fund in furtherance of the efforts of Keep Columbus Beautiful, to authorize the expenditure of $30,000 from the private grant fund. And are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Because I am going to move to amend this ordinance to 30-day legislation. So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
You can't.
Mr. Bangston,
Abstain.
Ms. Barosa de Padilla, Mr. Brown, Ms. Favor, Mr. Remy,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Dorans.
Yes.
That is all. It's amended. Amended.
Oh, amended.
That's it, right?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. That is all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Remy. Seeing no additional business to perform. Where do you? See, testing me, Councilmember Remy. Seeing no further business to come before council, is there a motion to? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Regular meeting 18 is now adjourned. I think we're going to go ahead and do non-agenda speakers now. Is that cool with you guys?
amadoda endiwaziyo shuthi amandujiyani la enza zonke zinto zemikhuba amadoda endiwaziyo shuthi amandujiyani la enza zonke zinto zemikhuba amadoda endiwaziyo shuthi amandujiyani la enza zonke zinto zemikhuba amadoda endiwaziyo shuthi amandujiyani la enza zonke zinto zemikhuba amadoda endiwaziyo shuthi amandujiyani la enza zonke zinto zemikhuba engalunganga
Turn it out. Turn it out.
Regular meeting number 19 will come to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing no additions or corrections, the journal is approved. We'll now go to the zoning committee. I chair that committee. All members serve on it. Before we move into the zoning agenda, first a little bit of housekeeping. Will the clerk please read the numbers of legislation before in the zoning committee this evening that require waiver of second reading?
1004-2023, 1038, 1065, 1073, 882, 1005, 1006, 1040, 1066, 1067, and 883-2023.
Thank you, clerk. I now move to waive second reading on those items. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Now allow me to briefly explain our current rules pertaining to speaking before council on rezoning and council variances. We will only hear a staff presentation for ordinances that have a disapproval from a recommending body, or if we have a public speaker to sign up to speak against an ordinance. We have received 0 public speaker slips this evening. All speakers on council variances, including city staff, area commissioners, applicants, and members of the public, will be sworn in before they give testimony. Representatives of an area commission and applicants are always able to speak on an ordinance and do not need to fill out a speaker slip. On the advice of the city attorney's office, I will now swear in city staff. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, nothing but the truth, as you shall answer the pains or penalty of perjury? If so, please say I do. Thank you. Please let the record reflect that Tim Dietrich from the Department of Building and Zoning Services and Dan Bleschmidt from the Department of Public Service have been sworn in. First, we have ordinance 1004-2023 to rezone 30 Parsons Avenue being 0.67 plus acres located in the southeast corner of Parsons Avenue and East Capitol Street from ARLD Apartment Residential District and CPD Commercial Plan Development District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is RWAD LLC, care of David Hodge, attorney. The proposed use is a mixed-use development. City Department recommendation is approval. The Development Commission's recommendation is approval. Northeast Area Commission's recommendation is also approval, 617. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 1038-2023 to rezone 1115 Stelter Road being 35.17 plus acres located in the northeast corner of Stelter Road and East 17th Avenue from R Rural District to R1 Residential District and M2 Manufacturing District to M Manufacturing District. The applicant is Laura Comack, attorney. Proposed use is a parking lot. City Department recommendation is approval. Development Commission recommendation is approval. The East Columbus Civic Association is also approval. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 1065-2023 to rezone 616 East Cothas Street, being 0.19 plus acres located in the northwest corner of East Cothas Street and Ann Street from C4 Commercial District to R4 Residential District. The applicant is Julie Bullock, architect. Proposed use is a residential development. City's Department recommendation is approval. Development Commission's recommendation is approval. Columbus Southside Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 1073-2023 to rezone 30-32 Princeton Avenue being 0.07 plus acres located in the southeast corner of Princeton Avenue and West Capitol Street from R4 Residential District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. And the applicant is 1285 West Broad Street, care of Andrew Wapner and Sean Cope. Proposed use is a parking lot. City Department recommendation is approval. The Development Commission's recommendation is approval. The Franklinton Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. And my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0882-2023 to rezone 1895 Stelter Road, being 12.18 plus acres located in the west side of Stelter Road 500-plus feet south of City Gate Drive from LM Limited Manufacturing District, CPD Commercial Plan Development District, and R Rural District to R1 Apartment Residential District. The applicant is the Robert Weiler Company, care of Mike Shannon, attorney. Proposed use is a multi-unit residential development. State's Department recommendation is disapproval. The Development Commission's recommendation is approval. The Northeast Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. Mr. Shannon, who's the applicant's attorney, is here this evening. You want to address council at this time? Welcome back. Mr. Shannon, floor is yours.
President Pro Tem, Zoning Chair Dorns, Mike Shannon on behalf of the applicant, the Robert Weiler Company. This has been a labor of love we've been working on for a little bit over a year with the unanimous support of the Area Commission and Development Commission. We bring forward this evening this market rate housing project that also has a critical affordable housing component. We understand the Division of Planning's policy with respect to things obviously this close to industrial parks. They like to see job creation. However, we think that having the employees closer to the job locations is of great benefit, particularly for the tenants that would be in the affordable housing. Obviously, the transit would be abundant. So for those reasons, we respectfully request your approval. And I would note for the record that the Area Commission was unanimous because they did not want the associated truck traffic and other things that would be affiliated with the current zoning. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. Any questions, council members? Thank you. Did want to mention that my team met with city staff to hear and work through their concerns specifically on their disapproval from the planning standpoint. We sort of worked through that and understood sort of where they were coming from, but I think Mr. Shannon's comments talking about how this fits in and certainly was well supported at the Area Commission level. We'll have several variances associated with this coming up in that part of the agenda. So at that point, I do want to pause, noting the disapproval from planning and see if council members have any questions or thoughts at this time. Great. Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Thank you. Passed.
Thank you.
Next, we have ordinance 1005-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3356.03, C4 permitted uses, 3361.02 permitted use of the Columbus City Code, so the property located at 30 Parsons Avenue to permit a ground floor residential uses with a mixed unit development in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is Arwoat LLC, care of David Hodge Attorney. Proposed use of the mixed use development. City's Department recommendation is approval. Near East Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Accepted. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. And finally, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 1006-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3332.035 R3 Residential District, 3312.49 minimum number of parking spaces required, 3321.05B1 vision clearance, 3332.13 R3 area district requirements, 3332.22 building lines and corner lines exceptions, 3332.26 minimum side yard permitted, and 3332.27 in rear yard of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 2671 Palmetto Street to permit a two-unit dwelling with mixed-use buildings with accessory storage on one lot with reduced development standards in the R3 residential district. The applicant is Janine Kerbal. The proposed use is a two-unit dwelling and mixed-use buildings on one lot. City's Department recommendation is approval. Greater Hilltop Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Accepted. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. And finally, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 1040-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3312.21 ABD landscaping and screening, 3312.25 maneuvering, 3312.29 parking spaces of Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1115 Stelter Road to permit a reduced development standards for a parking lot in the M Manufacturing District. The applicant is Laura Comack, attorney. Proposed use is a parking lot. City's Department recommendation is approval. The East Columbus Civic Association's recommendation is also approval. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Accepted. Next, I move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. And next, finally, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 1066-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 333.2.21 building lines, 333.2.25 maximum side yard required, and 333.2.26 CF minimum side yard permitted Columbus City Codes for the property located at 616 East Coffin Street to permit a reduced development standards for a 4-unit dwelling in the R4 residential district. The applicant is Julia Bullock, architects. Proposed use is a residential development. City's Department recommendations approval. Columbus Southside Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Accepted. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. And finally, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 1067-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3332.037 R2F residential district, 3312.49 minimum number of parking spaces required, 3332.05 A4 area district lot width requirements, 3332.14 R2F area district requirements, 3332.19 fronting, 3332.25 maximum side yards required, 3332.26 minimum side yard permitted, and 3332.27 rear yard of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 202 Mid-Off Street to permit a 2-unit dwelling on one lot with reduced development standards in the R2 residential district. The applicant is Nicholas P. Schubert, care of Dave Perry, agent. Proposed use a 2-unit dwelling in one lot. City's Department recommendation is approval. Columbus Southside Area Commission's recommendation is also approval. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Accepted. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. I next move to amend as submitted to the clerk. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Amended. And finally, I move for passage as amended. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown favor, Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0883-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 3312.25 maneuvering, 3312.29 parking spaces, 3312.49C minimum number of parking spaces required for 333.24 rear yard and 333.255 perimeter yard of the Columbus City Codes, the property located at 1895 Stelter Road to permit a reduced development standards for an apartment complex in the R1 apartment residential district. And the applicant is the Robert Weiler Company, care of Mike Shannon, attorney. Proposed use a multi-unit residential development. City's Department recommendation is disapproval. The Northeast Area Commission's recommendation is approval, 7-0. We heard from Mr. Shannon here a moment ago. At this point, I'm going to just see if council members would like to hear from Mr. Shannon again. This is a companion variance of the rezoning we heard earlier. Seeing no requests, we will also ask for a presentation by city staff since this does have a disapproval. Mr. Dietrich.
President Pro Tem Dorans, members of council, the applicant has received a recommendation of disapproval from staff and a recommendation of approval from the Development Commission for a concurrent rezoning ordinance number 0882-2023 to the AR1 Apartment Residential District. The applicant proposes an apartment complex containing 228 units as depicted on the submitted site plan. Variances for maneuvering, parking space, minimum number of parking spaces required, and rear yard are included in the request because the site contains parcels within different taxing districts and will not be able to be combined. Additionally, a variance to reduce the required perimeter yard is included due to the presence of a stream corridor protection zone. While the variances for a non-residential development may be supportable, staff does not support the concurrent AR1 district and therefore does not support the proposed apartment complex with reduced development standards at this location.
Thank you, Mr. Dietrich. Any questions by council members of the department at this time? Seeing none, again, want to thank the city staff who walked us through their recommendations for this project. Based on our evaluation, we did feel like it was an appropriate land use and felt like it was moving forward, but certainly respect the guidance of the planning folks within our city, and want to make sure that we say out loud that we're certainly taking those recommendations very highly, but in this particular instance, it makes sense for us to move forward at this point. So unless there's questions or comments from my colleagues, I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Thank you. I next move to adopt the findings, adopt the following staff findings as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Sorry, I'm going to move to reconsider that. So the particular findings of staff, because there was a disapproval here, we're going to adopt certain portions of the staff report, but not all of them. And the portions of the staff report that we are adopting is the irregular shape of the site, presence of a stream corridor protection zone on the property, and parcels that cannot be combined. So I'm going to move to reconsider the adoption of the staff findings as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. I'm now going to move to make a motion regarding specific findings regarding the city staff report that we will not be adopting. So residential use is not being recommended here by the Northeast Area Plan. The establishment of development patterns, residential in nature. Again, as I mentioned, due to council's desire to provide more housing in employment areas, this council believes that while not recommended by this plan, this is an appropriate use of this property. So at this time, I move to make the following those following findings as part of the city council report. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Thank you. And finally, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0484-2023 to grant a variance to provisions of section 333-2.027 RR rural districts and 3312.27 parking setback lines of the Columbus City Code, so the property located at 5811 Olentangy River Road to permit a boarding house with reduced parking setback lines in the RR rural district, and to repeal ordinance number 2580-2023 and council variance number CT22-072. The applicant is 5811 Olentangy River Road, care of William Gadani, attorney. Proposed use of a boarding house. City's Department recommendation is approval. Northwest Civic Association recommendation is also approval. Unless any of my colleagues have questions or comments, I first move to accept the entire staff report and new evidence as an exhibit. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Accepted. I next move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Adopted. And finally, I move for passage. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, favor, Remy, President Pro Tem Dorans.
Passed. Next, we have ordinance 0838-2023 to grant a variance provisions of section 333.2.035 R3 Residential District 3312.49 C. Minimum number of parking spaces required 333.2.05 A4 Area District Lot Width Requirements and 333.2.13 R3 Area District Lot Requirements for the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1477-1481 26th Avenue to permit a 2-unit dwelling in each parcel with reduced development standards in the R3 Residential District. The applicant is Healthy Linden Homes, care of Emily Rayfield. Proposed use of a 2-unit dwelling. City's Department recommendation is approval. South Linden's Area Commission recommendation is also approval. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I first move to accept the entire staff report and new evidence as an exhibit by voice. Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Mr. Bangston.
Abstain.
Ms. Barosa de Padilla. Mr. Brown. Ms. Favor. Mr. Remy. President Pro Tem Dorans.
Yes, accepted. I next move to adopt the findings of staff, the findings of council by voice. Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Mr. Bangston?
Abstain.
Ms. Barosa de Padilla?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Favor? Mr. Remy? President Pro Tem Dorans.
Yes, adopted. Next, I move to amend as submitted to the clerk by voice. Second, anyone? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Bangston?
Abstain.
Ms. Barosa de Padilla?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Favor? Mr. Remy? President Pro Tem Dorans.
Yes, amended. And finally, I move for passage as amended by voice. Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Mr. Bangston?
Abstain.
Ms. Barosa de Padilla? Mr. Brown? Ms. Favor? Mr. Remy? President Pro Tem Dorans.
Yes, passed. Thank you, everyone. That is all we have in tonight's zoning agenda.